language for life, language for life, language for life, work, work, work. It was, is, and will be a challenge. Everyone wants the view from the mountain. Nobody wants to climb.
This is Teacher Talk.
Oh, that's a nice title, isn't it?
Welcome back to Teacher Talk. On last episode, Kane unfortunately had to leave Queenborough due to financial circumstances and went back to the summer school. You finished at the summer school. Did we go back to Queenborough?
I did actually, yeah. That was the plan. I had to leave the apartment, as you said, because of the financial situation, but it wasn't, okay, I'm done with Queenborough. So I went back, but I went back mid-September, more or less. So I'd finished at the summer school around mid-August. I wanted a little bit of a break, so, but that turned out to be an issue because, obviously, as I said previously, Queenborough it's a student city. So sort of around end of August, all the students flock back, get ready for the new year, and most of the apartments, most of the flats and things, they go. So when I turned up, although there were things available, it was in the same location as I was before. And okay, I could have taken one of those flats, but I would have found myself in exactly the same situation: saxophone, accordion, the guitar, all the buskers, 7 days a week, and it would have driven me crazy. So because I couldn't get anywhere where I wanted to, and just because I'm always I'm a bit of a free spirit, so it's like, okay, well, I can't get what I want here, let's look somewhere else. So I ended up looking at another. It's classed as a city, a place called Figueira da Foz. So you've got Queenborough, which is sort of central inland, Figueira da Foz, right on the coast, 30-minute drive away from Queenborough. I knew a few people who already lived there, and I was actually supposed to go there after Lisbon. I kind of might have mentioned that. So it just kind of felt like full circle. The plan was to go there 2 years ago, and now I end up there, a nice little city by the sea.
And how did that compare to Queenborough? Again, quite a busy city. Mm-hmm. Lisbon, capital, busy city. And then going to Figueira da Foz, which is a beautiful place, but obviously, as you said, it's a summer town. In the winter, obviously, it's quite quiet. How was the comparisons with those? Yeah,
no, perfect description. That's exactly what it is. It's a seaside. It's a summer town, sorry. Really busy, all sorts of things happening during the summer, really good fun. But in the winter, not many people there. You just got sort of the locals who live there, the residents. But for me, it didn't bother me because even if I'd lived in Lisbon, I wasn't, at sort of this period, I wasn't interested in, having a busy social life and going out and doing things and exploring. Language for Life was in a really good position. You're fully on board. We've got this, all of these goals and these targets that we're trying to achieve. So for me, so that period, it didn't matter where I was. It was just language for life, language for life, language for life, work, work, work. That's all I was really interested in.
Well, that, again, perfect place really then. There's not many distractions.
Exactly. It was, really, obviously you've been, so it's so peaceful and it's really quiet. It's exactly what I needed for that period, actually. So things just always seemed to pan out, So even though I couldn't stay in Queenborough, I couldn't get exactly what I wanted there. But perhaps, things happen for a reason. And
like you say, especially when it's work, 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 if you want that peace time. I remember one Saturday morning when I was walking along the front, and there was people about, but it wasn't busy. There wasn't families everywhere. There was a few families.
It's not chaotically kids. Busy.
No, it was just nice, it's relaxing.
Nice, yeah. So it was exactly what I needed.
Now, going back onto actual services and work that we do, obviously back onto language exchange, the invention in your mind.
Yeah, the thing that
was revolutionary to the language world.
Just change the world, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Change the world with a unique idea.
How was that going at this time? Because obviously, in the last episode, if I'm not mistaken, it was still a free service. Now we did actually change that model and start charging at some point. What was the evolution of language exchange?
Well, we knew that's where it was going. We couldn't offer this as a free service forever because, you remember, there was an awful lot of work going into it. We had 2 sessions a week, and we were constantly trying to change and adapt because of some of the sessions, it was too late for some people, some were too early. So we were trying to change this time and find that perfect time for people. But obviously, we made that decision. Okay, we're going to start charging eventually. So when is that? And it was getting to a point, wasn't it? Okay, well, we've got enough people. We know we're going to lose a chunk of people, a percentage of people, because they don't want to pay, even though it was a very affordable service. We weren't charging a fortune. It was very affordable, but we did have to charge something for the work that we're putting in. So we knew we were going to lose some people. So it was just about getting to a point like, okay, we've got this many people, we're going to lose X amount of people. That's when we have to start charging. But then that just came with its own set of challenges again.
No, it definitely did. Would you want to highlight some of those challenges with us?
Yeah, I think the biggest one really was about people's availability. So when you get, most of the people that joined, most of the Portuguese speakers were from Portugal, and Portuguese culture, they don't have dinner at 5 p.m. They're still working at that time. They're getting home, dealing with the families. They'll eat at 8, 9 p.m. in the evening. So even for them, 7 p.m. is too early for them. Whereas then when you've got, let's say, the British or American members in the session, 9 p.m. was too late for them because they have the dinner at 5 and they're probably in bed at 8. So really just trying to find a timetable to not suit everybody, because that's impossible, but even just trying to suit the majority was in itself a massive challenge. And we were cancelling some sessions because, as you said, we need more or less an equal number of Portuguese and English speakers. If you've got a massive imbalance, you don't have a session. And how many times did it happen? Literally 10, 15 minutes before we've planned a session, we've got everything done, we'd get a couple of emails pinging through, really sorry, Kane, I have to finish work late, or we've got this family thing, which again is fair enough. I mean, it's not like, oh, rascals. It's fair enough those things happen, but when it's happening too often, we're having to cancel sessions. It's just heartbreaking.
Well, I find it frustrating because you'd have this kind of hiatus where you'd get loads of people contacting us. We'd have some brilliant sessions. You could see progress. You could hear the conversations were flowing, and it was fantastic.
People were loving it. The feedback was incredible.
And then the next month, it'd go down on the amount of attendees, and then it'd be like that for a little bit, and then it'd go up, and you think, oh, it's coming back. We're doing it, and then it'd go down, and it was constantly that.
Yeah, it got to a point that we feel like, okay, we've cracked it here. This is it. We were just kind of waiting for that point. We're like, okay, we've cracked it. Now it's just going to the numbers are going to keep going up. And it never really happened, did it?
It just didn't, unfortunately. And as viewers may have guessed, obviously it did have to end.
It did, which is a shame because, like I said, we love being part of it. And, you were coming to all the sessions, and some of them had actually been with us for a long time. Some of us had been with us from the beginning, So the people that were in the session at the end, they might have been with us for 12, 18 months. And I don't know, like it was a nice little, it's a cliche, but it was a really nice community to be a part of, and to see people's progress in English and people becoming more confident speaking Portuguese because of a service that we provided. Like it was really, really special to be a part of it. And we did some really cool things within the sessions.
Definitely some special sessions. If you want to go on to them, actually,
what was the first one we did? What we didn't want is just to, okay, here's a session and just, it's the same week in, week out, and then it becomes monotonous. We were always trying to find something new to give to the members, even when it was free. Let's just give them something new, something different. And that first special session that we did, we invited somebody I've known for a long time who's actually a hyper-polyglot, which means I think a hyper-polyglot is they have to speak something like 8. I can't remember the
I have
minimum.
6 in my
maybe okay.
Something around
it's around there, isn't it? They have to speak at least 6, 7, or 8 languages fluently. So that's a hyper-polyglot. And how many languages?
I think he's in the teens. He's definitely around maybe 14.
Which is
languages.
It's just staggering, right? But we thought, well, what an incredible session that would be. We've got a group of people who are trying to learn and improve a language. We've got literally a specialist at learning languages. Let's invite him in, and come and have a chat with people. And that was just such a great session. He's obviously an Italian, That's his first language. But coming in and obviously speaking to everybody in English, which would have been his second language, and then speaking to people in Portuguese as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we had in the session somebody from the Philippines who speaks Tagalog, because he said one of the languages that he can speak is Tagalog. And because of a few of the people in the session, I remember when we were promoting it, and a few of the people were a bit skeptical, like, oh, people, high polyglots, they always say they can speak loads of languages. And he just came and blew everybody away, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Just like switching from perfect English to perfect Portuguese. And then everyone was, even I was like, okay, he's going to speak Tagalog. And it was just like, oh my God.
It was unbelievable to see, very impressive. Again, for someone to be able to speak so many languages. And again, I understand the skepticism, because saying that you can fully understand, speak a language, can you really?
Yeah, does he just know a few words?
Yeah, is it just some, high school Spanish?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he just had a full-on chat in Tagalog.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously,
and sounded rather natural as well. Again, obviously,
Yeah.
we spoke with the person who you mentioned, and if I'm not mistaken, it was very natural how he sounded as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he mentioned it's one that he's not as confident in.
It's
as well.
It's one of his kind of lower level languages.
Newer languages that he was learning at the time.
It was just remarkable. So, but we were doing things like that, and we did other special sessions within the over the sort of 18, 24 months. But that one definitely stands out. In fact, I actually watched. Do you remember the video we recorded it? I watched the video back recently. It's brilliant.
Well, if anyone does want to watch it, it is one of the first videos we actually posted on YouTube, and I'll actually put the link in the description as well.
Yeah.
If you're interested, again, fantastic watch.
It's brilliant, isn't it? And he gave some really good advice as well about, because people were asking questions. We said to people, okay, if you've got any questions for him, let us know, and then he can prepare some answers and prepare sort of advice for people and some of the tips. So even that, anybody's learning a language, thinking, okay, well, how do I start? Or, how do I sort of get to the next level? Watch that video, listen to Salvatore, his name. You'll learn a lot. He's brilliant.
No, definitely, because again, it's multiple different languages, multiple different rules in those languages. So again, it can go for anything really, any language that you're learning. So
absolutely. But it was a genuine shame to have to sort of bring that to an end, because we did have something special. We did believe in it. We worked very hard on it. But I think we knew around that time, we hadn't said it to each other, but I think we'd known for a couple of months, like, it's just sort of too stressful. It's too disappointing, because we're charging people, even though it's a small fee, we're now charging people and having to cancel sessions. I just hated taking money from people who were paying for a service that sometimes that we couldn't provide.
And again,
I hated it.
Sometimes, obviously, we won't be able to do one session in the month, and we'd refund someone the whole month.
Yeah, give them a free month, things like that.
It was, and it was devastating. But at the same time, we knew it was time. But as well, we had obviously participants who give us 12 months in advance. Yeah. So they believed in it as well. It wasn't like it was just us and a pipe dream and trying to drag people along. They was invested in it as well, and it was absolutely a shame.
The feedback was brilliant. It was, and people, even still to this day now, I still get emails from English speakers who are learning Portuguese. Oh, okay, I've just started learning Portuguese. Have you got anybody that I can practice with? And I've still got students who are learning English. Same thing, like, I really wish I could get more speaking practice. So it's frustrating in that way. There is a demand for it, but just trying to get the more people you have, logistically becomes much more challenging, because you've got all of these, different lives and timetables and trying to find the perfect time. But, we both agree, I'm pretty sure we will, there are plans. We would love to bring it back.
No, not that we would love it. It will be back.
It will be back one day. I like that.
At some point, we definitely will be bringing that back. Maybe under different ways of how it's done, but
different platform maybe.
Yeah, but definitely bringing that back.
That will be back. Yeah.
Now, obviously, we spoke about obviously private lessons under Language for Life, obviously language exchange, but then we started going into the corporate world. How did you find it getting into that space? How hard was it?
It was, is, and will be a challenge because, let's face it, we are a new school. Now, we provide an incredible service. Our sort of mantra, our motto, our ethos is all there. What we don't have is we haven't had decades in the market, in the industry. Because when you do have the big schools, if you Google some of the big schools, they've got, usually these are franchises anyway, but there is a building in every major city on the planet with the logos of the big schools because they've been around for decades. So, but even they had to start at a point. They didn't just start with 50 schools around the world. They started with one. And after however many years, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20 years of being consistent, being around, when you become familiar and people trust you, because that's what it is. I think that's what we're working with now. It's gaining that trust. It was a challenge, but we've started to get that trust from people, and companies are now choosing us.
So what would you say is the biggest difference between teaching private groups or private students and teaching companies?
There's just a couple of different advantages and disadvantages to both of them, but I think with companies there is just much more stability. So I mentioned previously, a couple of years prior to this, I'd had a group of, 7 or 8 individuals. So I would have had a really nice private group. And then within, the space of a weekend, because of how many people dropped out, I couldn't run the course. You can't have a course with 2 or 3 people. I have done it, but if you're trying to build a business, it's not feasible. You can't have one teacher. You can't have 10, 20 groups of only 2 or 3 students, because then you have to charge them a hell of a lot more, and because you've got to pay a teacher. So it's just not feasible. Whereas with a company, they've got a team, so they're paying for it. They organize the team. So there's more sort of incentive from the student because the company's paying for it. So you've got that kind of middle person to mediate. And if a few people don't want to join the lesson still goes ahead. If a few people don't want to join a course, the course still goes ahead because you can get more. That's probably the biggest one. There is just a lot more stability with it.
And what's one of the biggest things that you've learned about dealing with companies?
How many times have I said this? Not to sound arrogant, which when I say that, I usually come across as arrogant. But it was like, actually, it's not that hard. Now, nothing, you correct me if I'm wrong, but there's nothing that we do it that is, you need to go do a 10-year degree at university to be able to do. It just takes a long time. It's a long process from whether it's an individual or a company, from the moment they contact you to then actually starting the courses. It can take a long time, right? And there's just a lot of steps in between. But there is nothing in there that is so challenging that's impossible to do. It's just, you just have to stick with it. Whereas I think a lot of people would look at all of the work that goes into organizing a group. Most people would look at it and think, no, that's just too much work. It takes too long. It's too much work. So what I've learned is that actually, it's not that hard. It just takes a long time. And what we are very good at is just seeing things through, sticking with it, being consistent, and never stopping. That's probably what I've learned.
Looking at it, again, a lot of people, as students, not being in the education sector as such, look at teachers and think, they just do 6 hours, and then they realise, there's lesson planning and things like that. But then you think of a business, it's not just as easy as just getting clients.
Yeah, they send an email, boom, they start the day after.
That's not the way it works. And there's a lot more in the background of, like you say, initial meetings, proposals, quotations, availability.
The negotiations, the back and forth.
Yeah, the testing, organising the groups, initial groups, and then making sure everyone is in the right place they should be.
And then all kinds of last-minute changes in between every single one of those steps.
And then building the rapport with the students.
Exactly.
It's a lot.
Because then you start, well, now guess what? Now you've got to teach them for the year, and then you've got to do everything else.
Now you've actually got to do what you've said you're going to provide.
Exactly. So, yeah, from the outside looking in, it's like, oh, there you go, you've just got a company, congratulations. But I think I probably made this analogy before, everyone wants the view from the mountain. Nobody wants to climb it. And that's what it is. So when you start, when a company starts with us, that's the mountain peak. That's the view from the mountain. That's great. There we go. We did it. But we had to climb the mountain. We had to go through all those steps in order to make that happen. And like I say, in all honesty, it's not that hard. In terms of the actual work itself, it's not overly challenging. It's a process. It takes time. It requires a lot of patience and consistency, and that's exactly what we have.
Well, I think one of the big things as well for me is the feedback from companies on the things that we would say is business as usual, standard practice in the relation, in the way that we send reports, updates in the communication that we have with them. Whether that be in attendance or their actual current level, and
but also just consistent communication throughout the year. It's not a case of right, we've booked you, we'll see you next July. Yeah. We continuously have meetings and we talk and we communicate through, giving updates, providing the reports.
Again, it's just shocking on the feedback of how little that's not done from some of the bigger schools, well known around the world, not just in specific locations. And again, it's just that I found that very interesting, that what we had as standard stuff. Again, going back to last episode, our standards. We don't see that as high.
We just thought standard. We thought that was the standard, but apparently that's higher than
the standard.
The standard. So that's sort of been probably more of a shock to you. Because obviously I've seen a little bit of that, but not as much, because now actually we're organising, we're looking at things from the inside now. Even as a teacher, I never saw all of that stuff. It's been a bit of an eye opener. But what's great to know is that we're clearly doing the right thing, and we're not just doing the right thing; we're doing more than most people. So,
again, very positive for us. But again, just a big shock for myself when I realised that and we was getting that kind of feedback in the meetings. Now, obviously, again, we've talked about the privates, language exchange, companies, but then we started to diversify a little bit more and looked at workshops. How did this come about?